My goodness, this is so good. I'm always excited. It's amazing. It's a beautiful thing.
Wait,
And
what?
and we going silly with it as well. Ha ha! Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to another episode of Stories to Create podcast right here at ES Club. I'm your host, Cornell Bunting. I am so excited today. As you hear in the joint in the background, baddest in the room.
Oh my god.
Oh
I
yeah.
love this song.
And of course, as you guys are hearing her beautiful voice, for you guys that's already seen her, that's our guest that's going to be on today's show. Baddest in the room right now. So listen, I'm just going to give you guys a light little intro on what to expect on the show today. Our guest is someone that is like a mogul in the marketing industry, and she got a whole lot happening in Southwest Florida. It's a beautiful thing. I am so excited right now, and I got to tell you guys, I've wanted to bring this beautiful soul on the show for so long, and so we finally make it happen. So listen,
Yes,
people,
we did.
I am so excited. Without further ado, help me welcome to the ES Club, Miss Christine.
Hi.
Good to have you on the show,
Thank
love.
you so much for this opportunity.
Oh
I
my
appreciate
goodness,
you.
I am so excited. So I gotta tell you, before we jump into our conversation today, guys, I want to thank my sponsors, and I gotta let you guys know, of course, my video game that's out, Nostril Cheese Chase, is officially a sponsor of the Stories to Create podcast. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so excited. Chorus Capital. Hey, any building you guys want to get built, you check those guys out. They are doing it huge in Naples and in different parts of America. So it's a beautiful thing. I'm excited about a lot that is unfolding for EOS, the organization. For you guys that have not been able to check out some of the projects that we have coming up or see what we got going on in Southwest Florida and Jamaica, that's going to be coming up soon. We just partner with the National Youth Council of Jamaica, getting ready to do 4 different youth empowerment events throughout the year this year. So we're hoping to unpack a lot. So with that, we're going to dive into the show. This is
man.
good.
Where do we start? Where do we start?
Listen, so what we do on the show, because we treat our guests. We treat our guests to a tale, where we have our lovely guests take our listeners back to the early years.
Oh.
So we want to dive into your world a little bit like that before we get to the present.
Okay.
So take us back a little bit on, where you was born, grew up.
Okay. Well, I was born and raised in Florida.
Okay.
I'm a true Florida native. And my parents are Mexicans. They're from
Okay.
Mexico. They migrated over to the U.S.
Okay.
My eldest sister was born in Mexico. I was the first one born in the U.S.
Okay.
Shortly after I was born, I'm going to say maybe a couple of weeks, my parents decided to move back to Mexico. So I was in Mexico for the first 4.5, 5 years of my life.
Okay.
So I have those roots.
So you remember that a little bit?
Oh,
now? You
absolutely. I don't think it's normal for me to remember
Right.
things that I remember being so young.
Yeah.
And now I forget everything. But I remember every little detail from when I was a very, very young, trouble-making kind of human. Like, I started giving my parents, a run for their money at a very, very early age in life. My mom's always, she always brings this up. I was literally 8 months when I started walking.
Wow.
So I think that I was ready for the world from the moment that I came out the womb, right? But yeah, like I lived in Mexico for the first few years of my life, and I remember a lot of the things. The culture, the food, of course, the people, and that's something that I will forever carry with me, and
That's
definitely.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
But yeah, my parents are Mexicans. I'm Mexican American.
There you go. So you came back to Florida when you came back to America?
Yeah, we lived in Texas for a little bit.
Okay.
And from Texas, we ended up going to Maryland.
Okay.
And what a lot of people don't know about me, which, you know, with everything, all the projects and stuff that we have going on, of course, people probably wouldn't necessarily imagine that about me, particularly where I am in life right now.
Right.
But I mean, I am your true definition of an immigrant's. You know, my parents are immigrants, and a true offspring of that.
Right.
Like I was able to experience, you know, the hardship with them. We lived in a migrant camp when I lived in Maryland.
Hold on. I can't give you guys that part of the story yet.
Oh.
So we wanna there's a few things I wanna grab before that, because that is so fascinating in itself. Just for you going through that, and then now what you do as, you know, as the profession that you have and the lives you impact and stuff like that. But what I wanted our listeners to kind of get a feel on as well was like, who were you in school? Like, did you have good grades?
I hated fucking school.
Really?
I hated school. I hated
Oh my
school.
goodness.
The teachers probably hated me too.
Yeah.
They had my parents' phone numbers on speed dial.
Wow.
I was always just. And still to this day, like I get bored very easily.
Wow.
And I mean, it doesn't work out well in my personal relationships either, because I mean, I get bored and I get bored.
You mouthy, you mouthy?
Of course I am, yes. But I mean, like I get bored very easily, and I'm one of those people, like, if you're trying to teach me, you know, what 2 + 2 is, just show me how to hurry up and do it. Like I'm very impatient, like, you know, I'm very hands-on. Let's do this. Let's get this done.
Don't speak to the choir. Don't speak to I get it.
So, it's worked out, particularly with what I'm doing for work now, because I'm very impulsive in the sense that if I put a project at hand, I'm focused. We're getting it done. Yeah. And that's the end of that.
Wow.
You know,
beautiful.
It didn't work out for me when I was in school.
Right.
Because you're at a pace, you're on everyone's time. And now, you know, with my marketing company and everything, I'm like, I'm my own pace.
Right.
You know, what you know, people will take them like a week to get done. If I'm focused for the day, I'm getting that shit done.
You getting that done. Wow. So, you know, with that being like a thing that you didn't care much for school, how far did you get to?
I went to college.
Oh, there you go.
I did. Yeah. And I also took my nursing courses. I worked at a health department as soon as I turned 18. Yeah. And, you know, I did that for quite some time. So I love patient care. It's something that it's funny because now my little sister that's 18 is going to school to be a nurse. And, you know, she's fulfilling that. And I got very jaded in the medical field because of the experience that my mother had when she got diagnosed with cancer when I was in the 11th grade. Okay. It was a complete nightmare for our family. What a lot of people don't realize is that it doesn't only affect the person that's physically going through, you know, that struggle, but it also affects the family around you, right? I remember, and I mean, mind you, again, I was in the 11th grade. I remember waking up every morning saying to myself, like, is today going to be the last day that I'm going to have a mom? Wow. You know, you just wake up every day with that thought. And I, you know, in the 11th grade, going to therapy and all of these things that are, you know, talked about now, that wasn't the norm back then. You know, we had a guidance counselor that you would go sit and talk to, but do I really want to tell this person my business? You know? And so it was just something that I had to digest, and it was such a struggle for me to be dealing with that mentally. And you know, I was raised in a very unique way. And I've had people that I've been in relationships with me tell me, like, you know, you got to learn how to put your dick away sometimes. Absolutely. Because I was raised, first and foremost, like, I'm a daddy's girl. I was attached to the hip to my dad. You know, cookouts all men, I was with my dad. If,
Yeah.
you know, whatever, I was with my dad. Like,
Yeah.
always with my dad. So I've always gravitated more towards that masculine energy because of that. So that's what I have put myself around.
Right, right.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm not for everyone, and that's okay.
You're not.
And that's okay. Because that wasn't meant to be for everyone.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So if you can't, if my masculine energy
Yeah.
is overwhelming you, then
Yeah.
you're not man enough.
Ooh, are you
Because
not alpha enough, huh?
How is it
Yeah.
possible? Because we all have both.
Oh,
right?
definitely,
We
definitely.
all have both.
Oh, definitely.
But if
yeah.
my masculinity is overpowering yours as
Right.
a man,
Yeah, that's not good.
I don't know
You
what to say
got
about that.
guys. You got to go back in the drawing book and you got to figure it out.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that. So with that, would you say your dad play more of a role with you, like understanding how to go through the school, the high school, the college, all that stuff?
No, because we're Mexican. I mean, no, it wasn't like that. Everything that I have accomplished, mind you, my parents were immigrants. Both of my parents went to college in Mexico.
Yeah.
My mother was a journalist. I
Okay.
have a lot of, we have like the newspaper clippings and pictures. And,
Yeah.
you know, she had such an amazing life.
Mm-hmm.
And they sacrificed
Right.
all of that to
Yeah.
provide a better life for us.
That's amazing.
You know, and when
Yeah.
you know, you're studying in a completely different country, and then you go to a country where you don't understand the language, the people, the culture, like everything is so different,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of the times you can't carry a degree with you from another
Right.
country to the U.S.
This is true.
So
This is
then
true.
they migrate to the U.S. They work their asses off to provide for us, right? You don't have time for anything else,
Right.
And that's all they've ever done to this day is
Right.
work,
Yeah.
right?
Wow.
My oldest sister, again, she was born in Mexico, so it was a little different for her. So when I came out the gate, like here I am, I'm in school and I'm watching, I'm observing, I'm nosy as fuck.
Ooh.
In the sense, not
Yeah.
like necessarily like what are you doing with yourself or
Yeah.
whatever. More like I would sit back and I observe and I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know, like I just started figuring myself out along the way.
Right.
So, yeah, like once you figure yourself out, and you know, I always tell people like you don't have to know
Yeah.
what you want out of life as long as you know what you don't want.
Right.
That's steering you in a certain direction.
So I could see this pretty girl that had like an entourage of girl that was just wait for her to get to school so they can follow her around.
I didn't have girlfriends. Absolutely not.
She was
Absolutely
It
not.
wasn't the
I was
case.
not a girlfriend's type of person.
Yeah.
I have 1, 2.5.
Wow.
2.5
What?
childhood friends, and I say half because the one bitch is there 1 minute and the next she's not. So I get a half of her. She gets a half a star. But no, I have a couple of childhood friends. And,
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade that for the world because they're solid.
Right.
They're
That's beautiful.
solid.
That's
Mind
beautiful.
you, I have a lot of acquaintances. What I do for a living, I'm a marketer. I do
Yeah.
marketing for attorneys, for clinics, and
Okay.
you know, things like that. But for me to say I part bread with them, I allow people into my living space.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
Rare.
Wow.
Rare.
That is
Rare.
amazing, right?
Yeah,
there.
I'm one of those really. Energy is such a role in my life. Like it plays such a role in my life. Like I feel that when you allow certain people into your life,
Yes.
their energy will consume you, whether it's good or bad.
Oh, most definitely.
Whether it's good or bad.
totally agree with that.
You know, I like to love people from afar.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to do that.
I love to love people from afar.
I like that. So, you know, with you now fully understanding, like, you know, how you need to apply yourself, did you know in high school or in college that you were going to be going into marketing?
Absolutely not. That was
Okay.
never part of my plan. This happened accidentally for me, and I say accidentally because I experienced something personal
Right.
that made me say, you know what, I don't want other people to go through what I went through.
Right.
So how do you do that?
Yeah.
You start making a change for those around you.
Yeah.
Right? You start moving in a way, and you start guiding people so that they don't make the same mistakes that you made.
Right.
And I was in a really bad car accident. Okay, that's how this started.
Okay.
And
okay.
no, I'm not your typical send me a referral, you get paid bullshit. There's a
Yeah,
lot
yeah.
of that stuff. That's
Yeah, yeah.
not what I'm in it for. I
Right,
have my
right.
solid accounts.
Yeah.
I do real marketing for facilities.
Yeah, yeah.
Do people call me when they've been in a car accident? Absolutely.
Right, right.
Why do they do that?
Yeah.
What makes me different is I've been in PI for like a decade. Actually, it was 10 years in September. So I know what attorney is going to litigate, that they're going to take your case to the next level.
Right.
I know what clinics are going to do right by you.
Right, right.
I've learned how to decipher that from my own personal experiences that I've had.
Right.
I was in a really bad car wreck, which, by the way, my left rib still pops out of place sometimes.
Whoa.
Like, if I'm driving for a long time, I'm like, oh, and I have to, like, almost, like, readjust, you know, like, my left rib a little bit. But, I was in a really bad car accident. I started treating at a clinic. The clinic exhausted my PIP money that I had for my insurance, and by the time that, you know, I had to go see a specialist, they had already ran through my money.
Wow.
So I'm like, you know what? A lot of people don't understand the way the laws work, which I am not an attorney. Yeah. Okay. I know things because I've been in this for so long.
Right, right.
And yeah, like I was like, you know what? No. So people come to me and I'm like, where do you live? What's going on? Right. And I help place them.
I love that.
And I help place them. And I literally treat everyone like if they were my mom, my brother, you know, my dad, my son. Like I always treat people, you know, the best that I can when they are in situations as such.
I love that. So
but that's how I got into marketing for this. Yes.
From that. So from college, what was your first job that you stepped into?
I literally just went and took my basic courses in school. Like I didn't say, and I mean, I took my medical, of course, like anatomy, physiology, psychology, all that fun shit. Right. But, which by the way, I still have friends, my older sister's like, okay, so Caitlin is feeling like this, da 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 da, what do I do? And I'm like, I'm not a doctor, but let me tell you what you need to do. Yeah. You know, aside from the home remedies, because I'm really big on home remedies and the natural herbs and things like that, because that's the way that I was raised. Right. But yeah, no, I would say that like all of this came from you know, those experiences that I've had myself, and I had no idea where my life was going to lead me.
I love that.
I've literally just been like a little plastic bag in the wind, and just letting the universe take its course with me, and I'm here for it. So
let me ask you, because I think there's a few celebrities out there with the last name Guerra. You guys are not related to none of them? No.
You know what they say, you're not guilty until it's proven, right?
Until it's proven.
I have no idea.
So anyone be like, oh, I think I might know Christina Guerra. That's not, that might not be.
Or it might, I don't know, it depends. It depends what it's about.
So I don't know. The relationship you had with your siblings growing up was pretty good?
It was, oh God, that's a whole loaded question. That's getting super personal, but that's fine, right? That's what we're here for.
Definitely, yes.
So, don't be mad at me, guys.
Yeah.
This is me apologizing ahead of time. I was always different.
Okay.
I was always different. I always kind of was in my own little world. My older sister, of course, we're all 5 years apart. Okay. I have an older sister that's 5 years older than me. I have a younger brother that's 5 years younger than me. And then I have an 18-year-old sister. Oh, okay. She was a surprise baby for my parents, but we have the same mom and dad. My parents have been married for, 44 years. They have a beautiful marriage. Yeah. But my relationship with my siblings, I think when we were a lot younger, my older sister and I, we used to fight a lot. But I mean, you know, your siblings, that's what you're supposed to do, I guess. And then with my little brother, you know, I think that my little brother and my older sister gravitated towards each other a lot more. And I was just getting myself into shit all the time. Yeah. You know?
You was that troublemaker right there.
I was. Yes.
It was horrible. To figure it out.
Yeah.
So, like when you left, well, actually, before we leave Texas, let's go into Texas a little bit. So, your parents moved there with you guys. So it was the three of you guys.
At the time, it was four of us. My little brother wasn't born yet.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
How did the camp stuff even happen? What?
The camp stuff. So my uncle Ernesto, he had been migrating back and forth to the U.S. for quite some time.
Okay.
So after my father crossed over with my mom, myself and my older sister, you know, my uncle's like, hey, you know, they're hiring in Maryland, you know, come get this money.
Yeah.
So my dad, though, he's always been like a rolling stone.
Right.
He has gone to like almost every state to work. He would come back and, you know, I don't know. I've never had that conversation with my parents as to how it came about that, you know, they decided collectively like, okay, we're going to move to the U.S. for X, Y, Z reasons.
Right.
But we ended up in Maryland because of my uncle Ernesto. He's like, look, there's work out here. Like, let's figure this out. So then, and before we moved, though, my little brother was born in Texas.
Okay.
You know,
okay.
but in between time, like he wasn't born yet, and then right before the move, my mom had him. He might have been like a year old maybe when we moved to Maryland.
Yeah.
And yeah, we ended up at a migrant camp.
Wow.
At a migrant camp, and this camp, the building was a very long building. It had 9 units to the left, 9 units to the right. In the center was one big public bathroom for the women and one for the men.
Wow.
So the shower was just like this room, but with like shower, like some prison shit.
Whoa.
You know?
Yeah.
Shower heads hanging out of the walls, and then the bathroom stalls were literally just divided by the slabs of concrete with no doors.
Wow.
So my mom, being who she is like, I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah.
You know, she goes home and she starts sewing curtains, put a string, put curtains in. Ooh. And, you know, she started like telling people like, we keep the bathroom clean as a community. Like they went in and started laying the law.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I mean, imagine being in Maryland. It snows. It's freezing cold.
Yeah.
Having to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's snowing outside and you have to use the restroom.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the unit that we were in had one small stove, one small table, a set of bunk beds, and then a couch, and then my parents' bed.
Wow.
All in one room. There was no division, and there was no bathroom.
Right.
You know, you had to go out to use the restroom. So, you know, we had to time our showers because, you know, you're not supposed to be out in the cold as soon as you get out of the shower and all of these things. So, I mean, it was was interesting. But you know what? I had the best fucking childhood.
That's good.
I had the best childhood.
You wasn't upset that you was in that situation?
No, I was so free. I remember running around in the cornfields and playing tag, and you know, like it'll grow so high up, and then you got to get on your tippy toes to look for your friends, and you're like running around. And we played in the woods all the time. My dad used to take us hunting, and you know, all kinds of stuff. So we didn't look at it as we're poor,
right?
Because the love that my parents have always given us was sufficient to carry us through anything and everything.
That's beautiful.
We never looked at it as a monetary thing, like we don't have this, we don't have that. It was never like that with us.
I love that. I love that. So then you guys moved from there.
Well, from the migrant camp, we ended up moving to an all black neighborhood.
Ooh.
So we were the only Spanish family
okay.
In the entire 2 complexes. It was insane.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first moved there, my dad was outside taking the snow off the car. Mind you, like, we're the only non-black family in the area.
How old were you at this time?
I was in the 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yes.
So you still pretty young.
Yes, I was in the 3rd grade at the time when we moved there. Yeah. And might have been second or 3rd grade. One of the, I mean, 3rd grade for sure I was there because I remember my teacher. I remember my boyfriend at the time in the 3rd grade.
What?
Listen, we'll talk about that. But yeah, so we ended up moving to an all-black neighborhood. And I remember like one morning my dad was outside, of course, like scraping all the snow off the car. And this kid, he had to have been about 15 years old.
Yeah.
Grabs a snowball and throws it at my dad's face.
Whoa.
Not knowing that my dad's a gangster.
Yeah.
So he takes off, he runs off, and I'm like watching through the window like, oh my gosh, my dad's gonna kill this dude. Like, this is horrible. Yeah. So my dad chased him down, grabs him, and he's like, where do you live? And he took him to his mom and dad and was like, your son hit me in the face with a snowball. And, you know, his dad took him in, beat his ass in front of my dad. Like, you don't disrespect, you don't do that. So, you know, like it took a little bit for people to see that, like, you know, like my dad was nobody to play with.
Right.
You know, and then they would see all the guns hung up on the wall because he's really big. He's a really big hunter. And, you know, at the time anyways, and they were like, oh my gosh, like all his rifles and shotguns and everything were like literally mounted on the wall.
Wow.
You open the door, that's all you see. So then they got the point like, okay, we're just going to leave things alone. And he became really good friends with our neighbor. His name was George. And he had a niece that would come home for the summers and the holidays, and she used to do my hair all the time.
Ooh,
I would get my hair done in updos. I learned what spritz was. I would get my hair with finger waves.
So that was your bestie.
I was like, you know, best seafood around. The trucks would go around selling the seafood boils. And, you know, like it was a real Maryland lifestyle. And we would go to Ocean City all the time and, you know, things like that. And I mean, but yeah, it was, that's where I learned how to whoop some ass.
Oh.
Because it was either I was going to get beat up or, you know, I had to learn how to defend myself.
Yes.
Yeah. And, and I mean, I say that to my son all the time too. My son is the complete opposite as me. He's so calm.
He's a lover, not a fighter.
I don't know how the hell that happened because between his dad and I, don't know how that happened. Yeah. But like I've always told my son, like, you know, God forbid you're ever in a situation where you're trying to defend yourself. I was like, you need to know that, you know, I much rather fight with a person that is not scared than a person that is, because the person that is going to do anything and everything to try to survive in that moment.
Definitely.
Right?
And most of the time
the fear is going to like overtake you, and you're going to, you know, it's going to be a desperation moment, and you're like, I'm going to do what I got to do to defend myself. Right. But yeah, it was a very interesting part of my life.
That's beautiful.
Very interesting. And then from there, we moved back to Florida when I was in the 4th grade.
Okay. So high school, college, all happened in Florida. So
all of that happened in Florida. Yeah. I'm actually from Arcadia. It's called Arcadia, Florida. It's this little tiny country town of which I love and I hold dear to my heart. And yeah, like that's.
I think that was a place I came to watch. Was that horse riding or bull riding? Maybe it was bull riding.
Absolutely.
What do they do with the rodeo? They ride the bull,
right?
They
do everything. Yeah. It's a rodeo.
I came up there.
The
so
barrel
that's
races,
where it is.
Everything. Yeah, it usually happens. Gosh, I haven't been to that in years, but like I think it's March. Yeah. Usually when they have like rodeo week or whatnot. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's what that's where I'm from.
That was the. Girl. So you've seen that type of life when you was up there in Arcadia. But it's one of the things I noticed with that area though, every house have land, they have space. They're not like on each other.
My dad has always been like that. He doesn't like to be on top of other people, he says. And you know, he's like, I don't want people fucking with me. If I want to go outside and roll a joint and you know, drink a drink, I don't want to hear people nowhere near around me. So he's always been one of those people that's been far out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Always. Wow.
And sometimes it's good to be there.
I mean, I love it. I love it. Like sometimes, particularly now where I live, it's, you know, it drives me a little crazy because, you know,
you're around a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot going on.
Yeah. I mean, we are moving into that type of space now, and we're in this shift.
Yes.
I think with society, and so, you know, when you finish college. And you said, okay, now I got to be ready for this work world. Did you feel like you was ready?
Well, my life took a completely different direction because I got pregnant with my son. Yeah, so I was still in I was, you know, I did a few pageants in my lifetime. I actually did the Miss Arcadia title, won that title in like 2006, I think it was. Of course you did. Yeah. I did the Miss Mexico title, the Miss Latina International. So I had a lot of things going for myself.
Yes.
And that January, I was supposed to start Nova Southeastern University through, you know, a pageant that, you know, was basically paying for my schooling. Wow. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's a pageant, you just wave and this and that. But I mean, a lot of the times there's scholarships and everything attached to these pageants as to why, you know, some people like to do that.
Right.
But yeah, I ended up getting pregnant. And from there, like, that's when my life took a completely different direction. And I got to a point to where I was like, what do I do?
Right.
You know, and it was really weird because my mom's the one that told me I was pregnant before I even found out. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she knew it. You know, Spanish people, like, I mean, I come from a very spiritual family.
Yeah.
And she just looked at me dead in my eyes and she's like, you're pregnant. And I'm like, you're crazy. I'm like, what? No way. And I actually ended up pregnant.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow. But yeah, so after that.
So you were still in your teen then?
I was 19.
19, okay.
When I got pregnant. Okay, yeah, I was a super young mom.
Yeah.
And so I got to a point where I was like, I don't know what to do. And I was raised Catholic.
Right.
My parents, what I love and I respect about them is that they've always allowed us to make our own choices.
Right.
You know, they'll sit back and give an opinion and then let us decide.
Yeah.
You know, that's your life. My dad has always said that. It's your life.
Oh, definitely.
Whatever choices you make, if you have that baby, I'm not pushing that baby out for you.
Right.
I'm not the one that's got to take care of that baby.
Right.
That's you.
Right.
So at the time where I was working at, the owner, because I mean, he would sponsor my pageants and, you know, it was amazing. Things were going phenomenal for me. Mm-hmm. And the guy that I was working for at the time, I found out that I was pregnant actually at when I was at work. I was at work and I took a pregnancy test and my girlfriend Maria was like, oh my God, I didn't even want to look at it because I was like, oh my God, like this is not happening. Yeah. So she's like, bitch, you're pregnant. Like, you know? So then of course, you know, I have a whole life ahead of me. Mm-hmm. I have all of these amazing things going for me. Yeah. So my boss at the time was like, you're dumb if you have this baby.
Whoa. He
offered to give me the money to have an abortion.
No.
He absolutely did. He's like, your whole life, you're throwing it away. Like, you're getting ready to take off to go to college. You have so many things going for yourself. And I mean, I was like hosting events and I was like doing stuff on like some of the Spanish channels. And, you know, like the pageants really get you involved with the media, right? It's a little different now because now you have social media.
Right.
But at the time, you know, like there were so many avenues that my life was taking me to. And then this happens, right? Wow. So I'm like, okay, you know, I'm kind of like in the middle, like what road am I taking?
Right.
Am I having an abortion? Am I having this baby?
Right.
So I pull my mom to the side and I was like, look, Mom, like I tell her what happened. My dad was the last person that I said anything to because I knew that he was going to be disappointed.
Right.
My mom was relieved. My mom's like, this is going to keep you from doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, she looked at it as a blessing more than anything. And, you know, when I came to her, I was like, look, like I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. Like, you know, such and such is, you know, telling me that they'll give me the money so that I can have an abortion. And my mom's like,
what was going on with your boyfriend at this time? Was he
the father of my son?
Yeah.
We were not together when I found out that I was pregnant. We were broken up.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
We broke up. That's a whole another can of worms.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Talk about police chasing and having to go to court and my life. Oh yeah.
And excitement.
This is why my mom was like, this is going to slow her ass down.
Slow you down.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, if I would have been a man, I'd probably be in prison. I'm telling you.
Goodness.
My dad says that to this day all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
But so now I'm making choices, right? Long lasting for the rest of my life kind of choices.
Right,
like this is going to lead me in one direction or another.
Yeah.
So when I told my mom, I was like, look, I can have an abortion. Or she looked at me and she said, you know how I feel about abortions.
Yes.
You know, of course, they don't believe in that. She's very Catholic or very, you know. Yeah. And so I kind of just, but she told me, she's like, whatever you decide, I'm going to love you. I'm going to support you.
Right.
And this is what I love and I appreciate about my parents so much. They're not judgmental towards anyone.
Yeah.
Anyone.
That's beautiful.
They don't give two shits if you live in a mansion. They don't give two shits if you live under a tree. They're going to treat you the same.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to treat you the same.
Yeah.
So, of course, I decided to keep the baby, which, by the way, my son is the most amazing thing that could have happened to me. Beautiful. I love him. I adore him. You know, everyone knows that my life revolves around my son.
Right.
He is my best friend. He is my life partner that God gave me.
That's good.
That's what I tell people all the time.
I love that.
Like I you know, that's my homie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has seen us go through it all.
Yeah.
He's witnessed it.
Yeah.
Like no food in the fridge. Like how am I going to pay my light bills? Like shit, we got to move out of here. Yeah. Like, you know, it's been a real like, you know, the trials and tribulations of life. And he's been a part of every single little bit of that.
That's beautiful right there. So you've now kind of understand, you know what, you got to step into this mom role, this parent role. You're doing that. And so when did the whole PI stuff came about, where like you're working with, you know, different firms and
for the marketing?
Right.
Well, it was after my car accident.
Okay, so the car accident happened, and then you saw an opportunity.
So what I started doing was the owner of this particular clinic at the time, he was having me do illegal shit, which I'm really good at doing.
Yeah.
So I
really good.
He was like, hey, you know what? You get me patients, I'll pay you an X amount of money. What people do nowadays still, okay?
Yeah.
So when people approach me about, hey, and I'm like, dude, I graduated from that shit a long time ago. That's the bottom feeders that do that at this point in my life. Like I don't have a need for that. Like I have a legit marketing company. I help people, and I have accounts that monetize. That, you know, don't leave the space for me to have to take from this person and that person and that person and blow smoke up their ass and promise them the stars and feed them shit. Yeah. I'm past that. I graduated from that already.
We don't feed them stuff.
So, I like that. So that's how I got involved with all of that. Yeah. The gentleman that owned the clinic at the time where I was treating, he was like, hey, you know, you go out there, you get me some cases, I can get you money. So I was an ambulance chaser. Okay. And that is the number one big no-no in personal injury. When people get in car accidents, you're not supposed to pull over and say, hey, call me, I got you. And I was doing that with no shame in my game in front of the police and everything because I didn't know it was illegal.
Right. Wow.
And I never got in trouble by the grace of God because, you know, that you can get in trouble for that.
Right.
So that's how that started out. And I didn't realize how much money they were making off of me until, you know, you learn what you learn, right? Like this industry has been really challenging for me. Really challenging for me. I've made investments that, you know, made me fall on my ass, lose everything. I've lost everything about 2 times, literally cars, house, everything, you name it. Yeah. But because of those same experiences, I am no longer scared of failure.
That's good.
I know what it's like to lose it all, and I know what I have to do to get it, right back. Yeah. So if today somebody came and said, you know what, we're taking this from you, I'm just gonna stand there and gracefully let it go. Yeah. You know, I'm no longer scared of failure.
That's good.
And I think that's what's made me successful. Yeah. The fact that, like, you know, I'm one of those people that you're like, don't touch that, that's hot. And I want to go see how fucking hot this is.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I want to see for myself how hot this is. I don't need you to tell me. Let me figure this out.
Your curiosity is very high. Yeah.
Yes. So everything that I've gone through in this industry, I've learned the very hard way. The very hard way.
Wow. You know, you have this beauty to you, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons you got into the beauty pageant world. And have accomplished so much in that world as well. You ever had situations where you had young ladies came to you and just wanted to hear from you, like, you know, help me understand my purpose or my
Absolutely, I have. And you know, I don't know 100% what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm very raw about the things that I say. Like, I don't like to sugarcoat things. Good. You know, I don't like. I'm judgmental, but I'm not. And I say judgmental in the sense that, like, things are so common sense to me sometimes that I'm like, you can't be that dumb. Yeah. You know, I'm judgmental in that way.
Right.
But not in you made this life choice, so. You know, you're crap because of that. Yeah. Now, I will say something if I see that you're, you know, repeating the same pattern over and over and over and over again, right? Right. Then at that point, I'm like, I'm going to talk some shit. Because why?
Yeah.
Why?
This, to fully understand what that look like.
Yes. So when people come to me, I mean, I have people that vent to me all the time. I talk them off a ledge. Right. I try to help everyone around me, and I get that from my parents as well. Yeah. I don't know if you know, there's a show that was called Seventh Heaven.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my house was very similar to that in the sense that, like, my sister was in high school, and one of her friends was being abused by the dad.
Oh.
Or, you know, like one of them was getting beat. Like, you know, our cultures are so different.
Yeah.
Like when they beat you, they're going to beat you with a cord. They're going to beat you with a stick. Whatever. The first thing they catch, they're going to beat you with it.
Yeah.
You know, that's not the American way.
Right.
You put people on timeout and, you know, like, no. You do something, I'm going to pop you. Like, you don't do that. Right. So it's definitely... I've learned that from my parents, not to judge the person.
Right.
And you know, I'm about to get a little bit more personal, but the relationship that I had with my mom was always a little off because I was always with my dad.
Okay.
Right. So I would go to my dad for every single little thing.
Your mom
right. Every single little thing. Yeah. And my dad was like my go-to for everything. Yeah. But my mom and my dad, like they collectively together, like when they say that there's a union between a marriage and you become one person,
right?
They're the true definition of that.
That's beautiful.
The true definition of that. So what I've noticed about them my entire life is that they've always had an open door policy for people. Okay. It doesn't matter who, what, when, where, why.
Yeah.
If you need somewhere to go because something crazy happened or whatnot, come crash on the couch, come sleep in the spare room, get your shit together, we'll work it out. Like, you know, that's who they are.
Wow.
So I think that because I have that piece of both of them inside of me, I tend to be the person that people gravitate towards because they have a problem or whatnot. Now, I'm going to talk shit to you, right? I'm going to talk shit. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to put you back together and whatever, but I'm going to be talking shit the whole time I'm trying to help you because why did you let it get like this? Right? But I'm helping you.
Right. I like that.
And so to answer your question, absolutely. Like, I went to Paul Mitchell, the school in Fort Myers, and there was this organization called Be Nice or Else.
Okay.
And there's the thing that I appreciate about Paul Mitchell is that there's curriculum outside of you learning how to do hair, nails, and all this stuff. They like to implement important things like this club that's called Be Nice or Else. And we would go around to the schools and teach about like anti-bullying and things like that. So that's always kind of been like a part of my life. Because I went through it in high school too. And all them girls that used to bully me in school. Yeah. You know.
They've tightened up now.
How we looking now?
You know what? You was probably already beautiful from back then. So they were probably
No, I grew into this.
So beautiful.
I grew into this. Don't let it fool you.
I don't know.
I was a very late bloomer.
Really?
I was a very late bloomer. Yeah. I mean, I did pageants and stuff like that, but I look so much like my dad.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so funny because people will be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful." I'll be like, "Thanks, I look like my dad." All the time. Yeah. Thanks, I look like my dad.
So let me ask you, because you know a lot of people talk about the Mexican food and just because it even have gotten popular in America. Was that one of your favorite type of food to go to, or you like the American food more?
Listen, if I would die and God would say, "What do you want to be in your next lifetime?" I'd be like, "Make me a Mexican again." I promise you. I love everything about being a Mexican.
Yeah.
And mind you, my grandmother, my dad's mom, she's Indian, full-blooded Indian. I'm like 49% Native American.
Yeah.
And then my grandfather was a Spanish soldier.
Okay.
That married my grandmother, so I'm like 50-50.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And I did a 23andMe, and I mean, the way that it breaks it down, I'm like, because a lot of people are like, "You don't look like you're Mexican." I'm like, how the hell does a Mexican look? Like, first and foremost, I mean, my mom's side of the family, they're all light hair, white, colored eyes, like the complete opposite as, by the way, I'm the darkest one out of my siblings.
Wow.
Yeah, I have that real Indian blood inside of me.
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
they're a lot fair skinned.
And you got some height in you as well, so.
Somewhat.
Some height, because you're taller than a lot of.
Well, yeah. Yeah, my older sister, she's considered a midget.
Ooh.
She is. She's 4'11".
Whoa.
She likes to say she's 4'12". She's 4'11". I've measured her plenty of times. Yeah.
So you're the tallest one in the family?
No, my little brother is so tall.
Yeah?
My little brother is so tall.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's
and my little sister, I think, is taller than me.
Yeah?
We went the opposite way. It's like my older sister, myself, my little brother. And then like my little brother, I think my little sister's a little bit, she's shorter than my brother, but it went like this.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
So now you're doing, quite a bit with other companies as well in the marketing space. With the culture that we're in right now, we embracing and people understanding inclusion and all that different things that's been happening over the, maybe the last 3-4 years. How'd you feel like that have, helped you or impact what you've been doing?
For as far as like the marketing and stuff like that goes, I have served more as like a guidance, right? Like a little beam of light in people's lives when it comes to this like unknown world that they know nothing about.
Right.
So my parents are immigrants. They come to the U.S. They don't know the language. They don't understand the laws. So they don't know anything about the process of purchasing a home.
Right.
What do I do if I get in a car accident?
Right.
How do I apply for my health insurance? So many things that go into play when, you come from a migrant family like that, things that they're, and I say it's ignorance. I hate to use that word because it sounds horrible, right? You're ignorant, but it really means that you don't know, right? Like you lack the knowledge of X, Y, Z. So it is ignorance when you don't know something, right? You're uneducated in that department. So I have tried my very best to be like a light, to teach people the way, because had my parents had this type of help, they would have had a completely different outcome. So this is the reason why I do what I do.
That's beautiful.
My parents sacrificed literally and gave up their entire lives, uprooted, came to a country where they didn't understand what was what.
Right.
And they didn't have that guidance. I don't ever want to feel like my parents' sacrifice went unnoticed.
Right.
So to me, this is my way of giving back and saying thank you to my parents, because when they've had the ability to help, they've helped. And that's why I do what I do. I'm passionate about helping people and, teaching them about things. I have literally under my umbrella, I have realtors, I have doctors, I have attorneys, I have people that sell cars, I have people that do taxes.
Right.
I'm like a one-stop shop in a way. I don't get anything out of half of this stuff, to be honest with you, but just the satisfaction of knowing that, hey, you know what, I was able to help that person.
That's beautiful.
Because so many people gave my parents a lending hand at some point in their lives. So, and it's not always about the money either. Mind you, I love money and I love nice shit. But it kind of defeats and it takes away from what could be your purpose in life. I don't know if I'm fulfilling my purpose in life. I mean, if that's my purpose in life, then that's great.
Right.
Because it comes so natural to me.
Yes.
Right?
So would you say now, with a lot of young people, like, trying to figure this thing out at a faster pace than the older generation, would you say that a lot of them are being impatient when they don't accomplish certain things in the time that they wanted to accomplish it?
I don't want to say that they're impatient because we are living in such a fast-paced world now.
Right.
Where anything, I mean, shit, you can go on Amazon and order a car and they deliver it to your front door.
This is true.
So, like, how can anyone in the younger generations in particular practice patience when that's not what they're taught? That's not. Everything is like, oh, I need to order a car. I need to order my groceries. I'm getting this delivered to my front door. I mean, dealerships now go pick up your car and take it to the shop and change your oil and bring it back.
And bring it right back.
I mean, how does
you don't have to do
practice
much.
patience in a situation like that?
Oh my goodness.
That's how you're raised now.
Yeah, that is kind of rough though.
It is, absolutely it is. I feel like it's just making people dumber. I just said this the other day. So I know my way around Fort Myers.
Right.
But I'm relying so much on my GPS. Actually, I was coming back from Orlando the other night. And I'm looking at my GPS telling me where to go. I know mentally where I'm going, but it's such a habit I'm staring at my GPS. My GPS is telling me to go this way. I know that it's not this way, but I go this way because it's, you know, we stop thinking for ourselves and allow for all of these things to take over.
Oh, man.
It's dumbing us down.
Yeah, it is. It is so
that we're
important.
relying on all these things. Back then, I mean, you used to buy, you know, I remember taking trips to Mexico with my dad for the summers and the, you know, Christmas and stuff like that. And we would buy those maps at every gas station where you had to open and highlight. And, you know, I was like my dad's co-pilot, like, okay, Dad, we're going on this exit. And, you know, like I learned how to read road maps and things like that.
Right. Wow.
You don't have that anymore.
You don't have that.
Yeah.
Don't even need that anymore.
No.
So, you know, just to tap in just a little bit now, because, you know, I have, you know, people that I reach out to already, and they're like, who's gonna be in the show? And I said, well, you know, she's gonna be the baddest in the room. But they wanted me to touch on, you know, the relationship stuff. I had the brother that was trying to figure out.
Wait, what kind of relationships?
So this brother, he stepped out with a young lady, but his bread was limited.
Okay.
His bread was limited, and she kind of overstepped a little bit with the spending, and he didn't really want her to know that he didn't have all the money to cover
what she purchased.
Right, the whole thing. And so what he did, he fumbled it and made it seem like there was a fault to it, so they would have got it comp.
Okay. He basically called a fraud on it.
Yeah. But he's getting like this guilt that's hitting him, and so he's like, you know, how do you deal with that? What would you say to someone like that? I mean,
first and foremost, I have questions. Because how did we get there? I have so many questions. How did we get there? Like, where did he meet this girl? How long have they been dating?
Yeah, they weren't dating long. He wanted to impress her, though.
Oh, well, he's starting off on the wrong foot already. What? Absolutely. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Yeah, no. What? Why? So you're telling me you were okay with dating a gold digger?
Yeah.
That's basically what he just did.
He probably didn't know, though.
He didn't know what? Can you bring him on? Can you call him? Let's call him right now on the phone because I have questions.
You know what I'm going to do, though? I will bring him on I'm bringing him on another show. I promise you guys. I'm going to bring him on another show with you on the
I have questions because how did it get to that point?
But think about it, though. How does a guy know? If a girl is a gold digger, how would he know that she's a gold digger if she hides that, though? If she hides that, like...
You can't hide being a gold digger. You can't hide being a gold digger. How do you hide being a gold digger?
It's not possible, huh?
You can't hide that.
Wow.
You can't hide that. First of all, what were you driving? Was it your car that impressed her?
Right.
What did you say that made her, you know, gravitate towards you? What conversations were...
See, now I have questions.
What conversations were you guys having? Right. How did you get to that level to where she's spending your money and you don't even have this money in your bank account?
You didn't even have that bread. That's crazy.
How? You're trying to impress who?
Yeah.
You're about to impress that concrete you're going to be sleeping in if you keep this up, sir. That little bench.
You know, I got to tell you, as you're saying that, you know, my cousin almost fell in that situation that lives in New York. He married a Brazilian girl.
You know what? I'm going to start an app where I'm going to start vetting women for these men.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
They need vetting.
Because I'm so good at calling bullshit on a bullshit.
Oh, there you go. I like that. You know, though, I got to tell you, I told my cousin, I said, bro, you can't be going out to dinner every single night. That's
gross.
Idea.
Anyways.
But she didn't know how to cook.
Well, then maybe let's spend some of that money on cooking lessons. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. First of all, who raised this woman? Because why doesn't she know how to cook? My son is 17 and he's an amazing chef. He cooks a steak meaner than Mike at Capitol Grill. Mike, cover your ears. I'm just saying.
Mike, you just caught a stray. I'm sorry, bro.
I'm just saying, and you know, I love me some Capitol Grill. People know that I love Capitol Grill. So, and I'm a steak person, and for me to be like, my son's steak is better than Capitol Grill, you know, my son can throw down in the kitchen. He started cooking when he was in the first grade.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So,
there's no excuse as to why a woman doesn't know how to cook.
This is true.
And I talk shit to my sisters about this all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
But, that's the thing, though. We live in a world where most times when a guy see a woman that looks beautiful, they're like, she's beautiful, but there's some qualities that she's probably going to be lacking. And cooking most of the time adds that list.
Oh, I could throw down in the kitchen, honey. Yes, I can. No shame. I'm going to start a cooking show called, what are we going to call it? Maria Crocker.
Uh-oh, there you go.
No. Instead of Betty Crocker, we're going to call this Maria Crocker.
or the Guerrera Crocker.
Yeah, no, like cooking with Christina.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just like that. I like that.
And we're going to put that in the app, too, because you girls better learn how to make your own money and learn how to cook, too. Listen, the standards that I have put in my son's life are high.
Right. I love that.
They're high.
I love that.
I make my own money. I cook. I clean. We're running a tight ship.
All right. So we're going to test you right now real quick. So, because we want to take back a little bit because, of course, you're close to 40. Yes?
Don't ever say that again. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, with this question, it kind of runs with what.
Okay, so just ask the question. Yeah.
There's two shows. Celine Dion, Whitney Houston. You can't go to both shows. You can only go to one of the shows. Who are you picking?
I gotta go with my girl Whitney.
Ooh.
And the reason why I say that, my non-speaking English mother, when I was in elementary, used to blast her tape in her boombox when she was cleaning Saturdays. And I grew up listening to Whitney Houston because of my mom. And mind you, my mom is Mexican.
Right. Wow.
I never not once heard her play Celine Dion. I didn't know who Celine Dion was until I was in high school, actually.
Really?
Because my friend Albert at the time, he would play the CDs in the car. And now, I love Celine Dion after learning her, but I would have to say Whitney because Whitney was a part of my childhood.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's lovely right there.
Yes.
Now, if you was to step into the hip-hop realm, we're going to step into the hip-hop realm for a little bit.
Okay.
And you got to show.
What era, first of all? Because hip-hop is not hip-hop anymore.
This is true. Now they talk a lot of that. We won't come into this newer stuff that I don't even understand most of it anyways. So I just kind of stay in my lane in the in the back there. So we got Ice Cube. We got I don't want to make it too hard. But we're going to put Ice Cube over here. And we're going to put Ron DMC over here. Who would we choose?
Ice Cube.
Ooh. Sorry, Ron. I tried.
Ice Cube.
I like Ice Cube.
He's just hot.
He is.
I love the little moles on his face, and that's all. He's got a beautiful nose, the lips, and he's more my type of guy. I like a guy that I know that I'm gonna sit in the car, and if something happens, I'm gonna be okay.
You're gonna be good.
Yeah, I like gangsters.
Ooh, you do.
I do. Yeah, I do. Come on, man. Yeah, I gotta know that I'm protected. I don't want to be the girl with a gun and I have to pistol whip somebody for you.
Yeah, like who?
What? You got to be able to protect me.
Like, dude, what?
Yeah.
So you're telling me, let's say
I'm attracted to that type of energy.
I love that. So
that's my biggest turn on.
But let's say though, you're in a situation where there's a guy that you really care about. And he stumbled up on a dude that, more bigger, more solid.
Oh.
Rock him a few times and make him look bad. What would you do?
Oh. That's a very tough question. I don't know. We might have to get my boo some boxing lessons or, I'm going to pay for your kung fu lessons, babe. I got you. I don't know. I've never been in a situation like that, by the way.
That's good.
Like, the person who I have felt the safest around that I've dated is the father of my son.
Okay.
To this day.
That's beautiful.
I know that if we're around and anything goes down, I'm 1,000% safe. I will close my eyes and let this dude take me wherever the heck he's taking me. And I know that whatever situation we get ourselves into, I am going to be safe.
You're going to be safe. Yes, I love that.
Yeah, most people wouldn't think that because of the history that we have. And all of you people that know what's up, mind your business.
Yeah.
No, seriously though. Like we, you know, we were just so young, right? And we used to like throw balls of fire at each other, like just back and forth.
I get it.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a beautiful relationship with the father of my son.
That's beautiful.
And, you know, he's a part of my son's life. And, you know, not everyone has had the privilege, and I say privilege because it's always a privilege when people treat you different than, you know, than others. And you get the good side of them. And I always say that not everyone gets the same side of Christina.
That's beautiful.
You know, if you hear, oh my God, like, Christina's such a bitch, believe it. Yeah. Oh my God, Christina's so nice, believe it.
Believe it.
That girl will have your back and, you know, whatever. Yeah. Don't piss her off because believe it.
Yeah, I love
you know, because you're not going to get the same version of Christina, you know, all the way around with everyone. Like, I might be having a bad morning and somebody says something and I snap at them. Right. You know, so now their impression of me is not the best.
Right.
Yeah, I had a moment. I'm human.
Oh,
like I was pissed.
Definitely. I love that.
You know? So I feel like every person brings out a certain side of you.
Right. So, you know, I don't want to exclude much parts of Southwest Florida. So I'm just going to say Southwest Florida. What's your spots that you like more to just go hang out with friends, have a drink, whatever vibe?
You know, one of well, I guess we can go based on the bartenders that know me. Let's start there, okay? So, Ember Steakhouse. I know Chris, the owner, his dad, Jack. They're always very personable, and I'm sure that a lot of people can agree to that. It's not your typical restaurant. They have amazing sushi. It's very family-oriented. If you guys want to do the whole, like, they have the little grill. What is it called? Like the grill, and you get to cook the food, like all that stuff. Right. So like you can turn it into like a family thing, you know, or just go sit at the bar and have a good time. Right. Their music selection is always good. Like you feel like you're kind of like in the club, but you're at a bar having a drink, hanging out with friends. So the ambiance there is always, you know, it's nice. It's a good place to frequent with people and whatnot. But it all depends on the mood that I'm in.
I see.
You know, sometimes I'll go sit at Capitol Grill and I'm like, serve me an old fashioned, I'm having a day, you know? So like, it just really depends on the type of mood. But I mean, Ember's one of my go-to spots. Of course, Capitol Grill is. But
is that
then
the one in Mercado?
No, I'm talking about the one in Fort Myers.
Okay.
Yeah. So Fort Myers is very limited, I feel like, to what they have. Right. But for the most part, I'm in Naples. That's absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, you know, because we're coming towards the end of the show now, you know, for young ladies that they lack in a few, you know, areas, they're lacking quality.
I just cuss so much on this podcast. Excuse me, little ladies.
We can forgive her because she's so beautiful.
It's self-expression. Yeah.
What would you say to those young ladies?
Like
that would look at you and say, you know what, you're doing it. You're bold. You're fearless. You know, there's all these different things. How do you just step out, not be nervous that, you know what, this might not work the way I'm hoping it should work?
Life is all about taking chances. And without the lessons in life, you get nowhere.
This is true.
You get nowhere. So the best advice that I can give is do it. Yeah. Just go for it. Yes. Don't worry about whether it'll happen, whether it won't happen. Like I said, I have failed so many times in my lifetime with a kid, which is a lot harder when, you know, when you're a single parent and you're trying to navigate through life, because you're not only worried about yourself, you have a whole another life that, you know, is your responsibility. Right. So it would definitely be just don't give up. Don't let anyone tell you what you should or shouldn't do in regards to like a career or a profession because your inner self will always tell you if it's the right thing. You know how many people have been so successful with an idea when everyone around them is like, oh, that's not going to work out, or oh, this and that. I mean, look at the people, the Amazons and all of the stuff that started out of a garage, and people are looking at them like, what? You're getting what delivered? Yeah, like who's going to pay to get stuff delivered to your house? But yeah, it's just live it out, live big, and go after your dreams, and just be the best version. I think that as long as there's always a positive mind and good vibes, even if it doesn't work out the way you thought it was going to work out, there's always going to be a lesson behind it.
I love that.
The lessons behind it, I think, is what's gotten me through every single situation that has made me fail, because you learn from it and you know what not to do. So then you try it again, just a little different.
Right.
You know, and it's like I always say, it's like throwing spaghetti on the wall. You're going to wait and see what's going to stick to the wall. It's all about taking chances. All about taking chances and believing in yourself more than anything. Quiet the noise.
Yeah.
People are dumb.
Quiet the noise.
Quiet the noise. Like, and you know, and go hard. Don't give up.
I love that. Right.
I'm still not giving up. Like, I'm like, there's so many. I mean, and we've had this conversation. There's so many projects and things that I'm in the middle of working on that that I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna give or not, but I'm doing it. Yeah. You never know. You know, I mean, one thing can always lead to another. Doors of opportunity will open. I mean, look, who would have thought I was gonna end up in marketing?
I know, right?
No, I would have never. If they would have asked me that, I would have been like, what? No, I hate people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's true.
You was like,
I'm one, like, I will go host an event and do a happy hour, and, you know, and then I get home and I need quiet.
Yeah.
I need quiet. I have to mentally prepare myself half of the time when I know that I'm going to be in a crowded room.
I love that.
I have to, like, okay, you're walking into this, so that I'm not like overwhelmed by people's energies. I feel people's funk.
Oh,
I do.
That. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. For people that want to find you, your business, how can they do that?
So right now, my marketing company is called Conexión Latina, and it's basically, you know, like an outreach for the Spanish community. But it's more for immigrants. It's not necessarily for Spanish people. Like, I did it as a way to aid, you know, help and aid and guide and all that stuff. That's in the middle of being restructured by one of my attorney friends that, you know, is redoing that whole thing. I'm currently, the clinic that I have under my belt right now is called Neo Surgical Group. And I mean, you can go on our website. We have like chiropractic services, you know, people that have been involved in car accidents and slip and falls, any type of personal injury, we pretty much can handle. And that's really my main account. The way that my marketing company happened, it was not part of the plan, the way that things evolved for me. So I'm still in the middle of restructuring it all, because this account that I took on took so much of my time and focus that I'm like, okay, I have to like shake it off. And now it's like, okay, let's refocus over here. So yeah, I'm in the middle of restructuring the entire thing.
All right, this is good. Well,
yes,
I am excited to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Was wild.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was beautiful. You know, we gotta take our listeners out. You know, I gotta step in with my boy Ice Cube now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. Look at how hot he is. Look at how beautiful he is. Yeah.
It's that joint right there, though.
Look at him.
It's so encouraging. Oh,
Look at how gorgeous he is. And you know what? His son? Yeah. Well, I'm up for the son now because they look just alike. You know, you go from the, what is it, from the old bull to the young bull?
To the young bull.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Listen, you can do it. Listen, there you guys have it. Another wonderful episode right here where you guys got to hear the tale of very decorative guests that'll really take you guys all the way to Mexico, to Texas, to here, to what's unfolding. Ice Cube, man, you that beast, man. So listen.
So we're in the middle of the book. So once we get the book rolling, you know, we'll talk about that then.
Ooh, she just left you guys.
If you want all the dirty details, you're gonna have to get the book. I mean, details. But we'll talk about that another time.
So listen, guys. Until our next episode, where we have another decorative guest.